Sunshine's Corner, being brought to you by Quint and Richie Studer. Well, a beautiful Friday morning it is. Happy Friday. That's what the young people say. They don't say Friday. Happy Friday. Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into the hottest spot in town. This is Sunshine's Corner. And, of course, today number one, it's Friday. It's the weekend. And I think it's also the Crawfish Festival. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of fish eating going on downtown. So listen at this, guys. You stepped into the right place today because we need help. We need to talk with doctors who know what to tell us to do in times that we have things going on in our thought process that we don't know how to handle. And that's why I went out and I reached out to Dr. House. And I asked her to come on today to be our guest to talk about things that are happening with us every day, the things that she has to deal with because, how you read the things that you see that's going on and around our community is absolutely amazing. But Dr. House has been on with us once before, and I want to thank you for coming in today. Absolutely. So that we can talk about the things that I think that we sometimes fear talking about. Yes. And I say that because of what? If you keep something to yourself, you can't fix it. No. There's no way you can fix it.
Nope, not at all.
Because unless you talk to somebody about it, that's how you get the solutions.
Yes.
And I mean, with you, we were talking before we came on camera. Let me say this, first of all. Thank you for accepting my invitation.
Absolutely.
Because I was sitting there thinking, that's okay, I got to talk to somebody. Because when you talk to people, you hear things that are going on, the things that are happening in the world today. Yeah. We've got to be that connection to find people that know how to tell us to find better ways. Mm-hmm. And it's okay to not be okay sometimes.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I mean, with you, and I want to say this first. You are called NUMNE.
Right.
That is
National Alliance on Mental Illness.
Okay, that's it. I said, and what is NUMNE? She said, National Alliance of Mental. I said, I felt like, But the fact of it is, I know that you are also a minister.
Yes. And
with the fact that you reach people and you get to be in front of so many people, Doctor, I mean, what's happening with us now? What is wrong with the whole world today? The things that we're dealing with.
That's a loaded question.
That's a loaded question. Ready to shoot.
There's a really loaded question with a lot of bullets in it. But I'll just say this: right now, we live in a world that's, as we know, there's a lot of uncertain things.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are not really sure of what's going on. So with those who don't necessarily maybe have their faith to keep them grounded and things like that, anxiety can come in, stress can come in. And so sometimes when things happen, people really just get, just thinking all kinds of thoughts. And it's really not easy because, like I was telling someone, you have to have a skill set when it comes to processing your feelings.
Right.
Not everybody knows that. Nobody knows that.
Finger up. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, there is, because you don't come into this world knowing how to process your feelings.
Right.
They are with you, though.
Right.
You have them along with your mind and along with your will, along with everything else. But when life happens, when trauma happens, it changes you. And it changes how your brain functions. Now, the beautiful thing about our brain is that we have something called neuroplasticity, which means that even after you may have experienced trauma, there's a way that you can learn how to think things differently, process things differently that can help rewire your brain. But when trauma happens in your life, emotions hijack you.
Woo-hoo. And that neuroplasticity?
Yes.
I learned a new word.
Yeah, neuroplasticity. It's kind of like, the way that God has created our bodies to heal itself.
Of course.
But it's not something that automatically happens. It's something that you have to learn. It's something that you have to do. Like for me, with the trauma that happened in my life,
right.
I had to learn how to face it. And even though the emotions made me feel like I was there, even though the trauma happened years ago, I'm not there anymore. I had to learn how to process my feelings and breathe through it. It's okay. I'm safe. I'm not there anymore.
Really?
I'm safe. I'm not there anymore. That's where a lot of people are. A lot of people who have experienced trauma in their life or experiencing repetitive things is because they're still stuck with where it happened.
So it's okay that even if a doctor got problems, they got to know how to handle them. That's how you're good with others.
Right. Yeah, because, I say...
We're lifing.
Yeah, lifing. Life be lifing is what they say.
That's right.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. We have to learn how to process life. A lot of us don't know how to do that. And rather than just know how to respond to a situation,
Right.
you react to it.
Right.
We were just talking about earlier of what's happened with, people being murdered, being killed, thinking that the lethal means is the only way to end things, but it doesn't end things. It ends things, but not in the way that you want it to.
No, it doesn't. It only messes it worse.
Yeah, because first you're thinking that you're ending the pain by taking someone's life or even taking your own.
That's right.
The fact is you're creating more pain everywhere else.
Yeah, because there's so many people that's in that equation other than you that's going to be affected.
Absolutely.
The person who's, okay, we were talking about what was the killing that happened down south.
Yes. Yes.
And what was so mind-blowing with me about that, even, I think his mother was a sheriff.
Yes.
She didn't even know.
Yeah.
And I mean, he just took it and went
Yeah.
shooting.
Well, I think as parents, we need to understand, first of all, don't have the attitude that it couldn't be your child.
Say that one more time.
Don't have the attitude that it could not be my child.
That's right.
I take that from what Stephanie Shepard from Hope Above Fear says. It could not be, don't say this could not be your child, because it could be.
That's right.
It could be, because we have this thing that some parents had this attitude that, well, my child is just going through a phase. No, not this time. Not in these days. These days now, as we talked about in these generations, these young people have a fearlessness in a way that is not good for them.
Absolutely.
They're not afraid to do the things that are detrimental to them, versus they should have a fear not to. But then that also attributes to how the parenting is, what parents we have to this day.
You taking me where I want to go.
Yeah, it has a lot to do with where the parents are right now. To be honest, we have younger parents. You have younger parents that
you got that mama like we had.
Right, you don't have that big mama there.
That's right.
You don't have that older sage wisdom there. You have, younger people that are becoming parents. And when you're younger, even yourself, you're still forming in your mindset what to do. And so you have these young children that are not given the skills or giving the nurturing or giving the support that they need to be able to know how to identify their feelings. And that's one of the things I know with NAMI we've done, that we have a coloring book called Little Monsters that we do with young people.
Little Monsters.
Right, Little Monsters, yes, but it helps you to identify your feelings and to let them know it's okay to identify it. To talk about conversations, when Sally took my pencil from me the way she did, I didn't like the way that made me feel.
Really?
Yeah, but see, we don't have those conversations though.
I got you.
We don't have the conversations. If you start early with young people how to identify what they're feeling and not say, well, let's get over and go sit down somewhere, then that is healthy. And I think what people don't realize is that your emotions are really the truth.
I got you. When you say the parents, right, do you sometimes, I see children telling the parents what to do?
Yeah.
And that makes me quiver. I mean, but they think it's okay.
That's what I'm saying. When you're dealing with parents that are young themselves and immature themselves, or don't have the understanding of what their responsibility is, things like that will become like the normal. We know it's not.
Exactly.
We know it's not healthy.
Right.
But when you're lacking wisdom in areas of where you should be to help your child, then things like that can shift. I see it a lot, with young people, because matter of fact, I remember last week there was a conversation I was having with a young lady at church, and her son came in and he was just talking all kinds of ways, kind of like talking
at her.
Right. And then I cut my eyes right at him, and I just looked at him.
Right.
And he was like, oh, I get it.
Okay, because he knew that there was, you meant what you said. You would not do that.
You don't do that.
You don't do it, but it was okay for mama.
Right.
Because mama was not saying anything.
Right. And so that's the thing that I had to share with her. I said, it's not until you start being consistent and letting him know what you're not going to accept and enforcing those boundaries that he'll respect it.
Come on now.
But if you keep on subjecting yourself to reacting to it all the time, he's going to keep on doing what he's doing.
Absolutely. Okay, like even with the ones that there was I think I told you about. I can't remember the scenario, what the type it was, but just a couple of weeks ago,
yes,
there was a killing, a shooting, and it was like, that's 3 people now. The one who did the shooting,
yes,
the one who's dead,
yes,
and the other person that was involved in it. That's 3 families.
Yes, 3 families impacted. Yeah.
I mean, that's impacted by that one trigger pulling. And what did that solve?
Nothing.
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 That only caused more pain, doctor. And it's like, I wish that we can come to a point, because it bothers me, because it seems like, I think they want to, I mean, it's like, okay, I'm this. I got this. I'm not afraid of this. Then you go get a weapon and you shoot somebody. And I want to say this. It's not just happening in the black community. It's happening everywhere.
Everywhere. Absolutely.
It's not just in the black community, because some people try to paint that stigma that it's only in our community. Wrong answer.
And you know what? I think that's another thing that we need to understand, that also too, when they were talking about what happened with Florida State with the young gentleman, and they were trying to immediately try to put that, well, maybe it was something mentally related, mental health. Let me say this for the record so people will understand. It's a smaller percentage of people who have mental illnesses, or that smaller percentage that do violent acts. It's a smaller percentage of people who are mentally struggling with their mental health that commit violent acts. So that means that there are more people who are mentally adept or mentally, sound, that are doing what they're doing.
Exactly.
So I want to put that out, because that's a myth that comes out a lot.
I tell you, I hate that.
And I really don't like that, because, I'm someone that struggled with depression for 30 years.
Right.
I didn't think about committing any violent acts. Matter of fact, if anything, more people who are dealing with mental illness are the ones being exploited. They're the ones being violated. They're the ones dealing with those things, not the other way around.
Right.
And so I think that when it comes to what we're dealing with the shootings and things like that,
Overdoses,
suicides, we're living in a time now where it seems that the whole sense of community, and I'm going to say this because this is my personal opinion, this is Dr. Tawana House saying
exactly.
it. Okay. We in the black community have lost our sense of community. We've always been a resilient people. Even with what's going on from the White House,
that's right,
everything, we've always thrived in the midst of adversity.
That's right.
I was reminded of this when I just recently took a trip last month to the National Civil Rights Museum in Memphis.
Oh, you went?
I went.
Oh, chills went through me.
Oh my God. When I walked around that building and saw everything like I did, I thought to myself, that is what we need to get back.
I agree.
Is that sense of community, because that is what helped us get through. We looked out for one another. Yeah. We supported each other. We really loved each other. And even when it came to our families and our children, but we don't have that sense of community anymore, because now it's like, well, you can't tell me what to do in my house, and this is not it's my child or whatever.
That gets on my nerve.
But then you see the effects of it with all the shootings that you have, because what in that situation, if those families really had more of a sense of community with each other, lives would not have been lost.
No.
So even in the midst of negative and adverse times, when we have a sense of community, we can be resilient no matter what happens. We can thrive no matter what happens. And I think that's the thing that we have lost as a people, and that's the thing that we got to fight to get back. And I think that's the reason why when we create safe spaces like what we did with NAMI with the second annual gathering healing last month, addressing those issues, creating a space to talk about those situations, and other ways that we can create a sense of community, that we can do that. Because at the end of the day, we're living in a world that's unsafe. We're living in a world that is not easy to live in. A lot of challenges, a lot of uncertainties, but you got to hold on to something.
I agree. Now let me ask you, when you said something that I think that is so important, that we got to be able to, just like with the event that you said you had last month, and you got another one coming up in May. But when people acknowledge,
okay, all right,
that there is a problem,
yes,
but don't just put a little sugar on top and say, you used a word when we were talking before we were on there. Oh, that's just a phase they're going through.
Right.
No, that's not a phase they're going through, because you need to take a look at this. And I think I think that sometimes, and this is Sonshine, this is me thinking this.
Okay.
I think that sometimes people don't want to be that parent that they need to be, because I'm going to make that child mad at me. So what? Oh, she's going to be mad at me, or he's going to be, so what? Let him get mad.
Right. Because what's going on with you that you feel like that you can't handle them being mad at you?
That you can't handle them, that you cannot take the fact that that person is supposed to be upset at me. The Bible says, train up a child. The Bible also says, spare the rod. He said, I chasten you because I love you.
Love you.
Love you.
Love you.
But we don't do that. Now, like when you said when you went to the museum, I said that too because I was talking to this gentleman in Tuskegee, and he mimicked the same word you just said.
Yeah.
He said, until we go back to the connection that it was back then.
My goodness, yes.
He said the same words. That is what we need. But right now, everybody's so self-centered.
Yes.
I'm not going to let you outdo this with me. You're not going to take this from me. I'm doing this because, hey, look, I got this. I'm the superstar in this. Please, but we're losing our people daily.
Yeah, we are.
I also think this, and this is me, Dr. House. This is me.
Okay.
I think if you look at things that are happening today, younger people, and God, I hate to say it, but it's truth, are dying so much faster than the older generation.
Yeah.
I'll go back to the Word of God.
Yeah.
He said, my first commandment with promise. You honor your mother and your father.
Yeah, you do.
If you do not, your days will be shortened.
Yes.
That's his first promise. He said that this is my first commandment with promise.
Yes.
I think because the kids today have lost so much respect, don't think God gonna change his mind.
Yeah.
Hey, that's just me.
Yeah, but then again, that falls back on how the parents are. Do you have respect for yourself?
Exactly.
Do you have any respect to value who you are?
Exactly.
You know, I was just thinking about this, and I was talking to another young lady that, in reference to this, is that, you know, we as women subject ourselves so much to be treated just all kinds of ways.
From anybody.
Just to have someone there.
Hold that. I want to come back to that, Doctor. That's a deep one right there. Ooh, that's a deep one. Ladies and gentlemen, be a part of this conversation at 850-432-7768. You can call or text. Dr. House is talking truth today. We're not breaking anything to make you feel good, to say, okay, I'm not going to hurt your feelings. If the shoe fits, as my mother would say, wear it. This is how you got to learn how you got to do to untie that lace so tight. You'll find the proper way to do it. Stay with us right here on Sunshine's Corner.
Good day, Pensacola. Welcome to a new segment on health and wellness sponsored by Baptist Healthcare in partnership with Sunshine's Corner. Every first Wednesday of the month during Sunshine's telecast, we're going to be bringing you information about health and wellness and ways to make sure we're improving the quality of your health care here in Pensacola. After all, we want to ensure that you're going to the right place at the right time and for the right reason, and that you don't feel alone. Can't wait to see you.
Aloha, I'm Madrina Ciano, the host of Rolling with Madrina, and I love Blab TV. It's a great pleasure to host a community show that brings awareness to so many great initiatives that are happening right here in Pensacola. It's even more exciting as I go through the community and I hear from people about how much they're learning. I'm the host of Rolling with Madrina, and I am Blab TV.
Many who consider facial plastic surgery are concerned their results will look unnatural. But with over 20 years of serving the Pensacola community, his thousands of satisfied patients have made Dr. Derek Jones a trusted reconstructive and facial plastic surgeon known for industry-leading results that look natural. Call 850-484-FACE to schedule a consultation at one of our locations in Pensacola and Gulf Breeze.
I'm Dr. Derek Jones. Trust your face to a facial plastic surgeon.
At Pensacola Habitat for Humanity, we believe every child should have a safe place to grow. That's why we work with you and the community to build not just a house, but a home.
She worked very hard to get this house. I really appreciate that because, if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here right now.
When you help build a home, you build a future. Pensacola Habitat for Humanity.
And welcome back to Sunshine's Corner on this Friday edition. We have Dr. Tawana House in with us today. And I mean, the house is on fire today. But no, truth is what's going to set you free. Truth will make you free, my dear people. That's even in the Word of God. But what we're talking about today is really life and mental health and the things that we need to take heed to make sure that there's change so that that change can resonate. And I think change will come in the community.
Absolutely.
I mean, somebody needs to go to the White House, though.
I mean,
can I get you in front of him? I wish I could.
Hey, but believe me, I'm not afraid of that because I talk to legislators all the time.
Come on now.
So believe me, I have those conversations all the time. So
we had to talk with him.
Yes.
But look, you were talking about just then. You were going into the fact where you will accept women accepting things just to say that I have something.
Right.
And did you notice I didn't say someone? I said something.
Yes, because that's what we as emotional and relational creatures, women, that is who we are. You know, that we will just subject ourselves to feel like we can have someone in our presence, but that means that you don't really value yourself.
Right.
You don't really love yourself for who you are.
Right.
Because when you do, you won't be afraid to be by yourself, number one.
Hello.
Because that's some of it why we do what we do, because, you know, as women, because I did it, I was afraid to be alone.
Right.
But when you learn how to value yourself, you learn how to respect who you are, you realize that you are fearfully and wonderfully made, as the Word of God says.
Amen.
You are okay with setting the boundaries.
Thank you.
You're okay with enforcing them.
That's right.
You're okay with communicating them.
Right.
And it's empowering when you can, because when you let something or someone say, well, I said, I'm not going to accept that. I got a T-shirt from when I was in Memphis, and it had Angela Davis on there with her big afro on the front of it. Yes, and it says that, you know, it talked about I'm learning that I can't maybe change the things. I'm trying to remember, but the latter part of it said, like, I'm learning that I'm changing the things I cannot accept.
Exactly.
I've learned that there's things I will not accept. And those are the things I'm changing.
That's right.
But that change begins with you as an individual. Even sometimes when I'm doing mental health coaching with some clients, I ask them a very poignant portion. What do you want? What is it you want for your life?
Right.
And a lot of times they don't know what to say because they never thought about
that question being directed to them.
It's like, I never thought that what I wanted mattered.
Really?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Everything, it matters, ladies and gentlemen.
It does. It
matters. And you know, listen, now I'm talking to Dr. Tawana House this morning. Men, you need this help too.
Absolutely. Because believe it or not, men are emotional too.
Big time.
They just have a different way of showing it. They are.
Exactly.
Yeah, and because, you know, one of the things that I have learned to accept when it comes to men, especially black men. Listen, I love our black men.
Hey,
I
me too.
appreciate the swag of my black men. I appreciate the strength in them. But I also appreciate the fact that when they learn how to be vulnerable, a lot of them don't know how to do that.
Why is it that our guys think that it's not okay to show a softer side, to be a little bit more vulnerable? You don't have to be huff, big bad boy all the time.
Because of what they've been taught. They say, like, men don't cry, men don't get emotional. That's a sign of weakness, when the truth is, it's a weakness when you don't show it. It's a strength when you are able to be vulnerable. Not only that, ladies, I'm going to come out and say it, we haven't created a safe space enough for our men to be vulnerable.
Say that again.
We have not created a safe space for our men to be vulnerable. Because a lot of times, if we allow them to be vulnerable and say what they say, if we don't know how to process it in a manner that encourages them and nurtures them, you get in an argument with them and you want to turn around and take the very things they told you in a vulnerable state and use it against them. And that is not healthy, because the one time you do that, that'll be the last time you hear them being vulnerable to you ever again.
Really?
Yes, ma'am. It's the truth. It's the truth. And the reason why I say that is because we as women need to be healthy enough and strong enough to know that it's okay for them to do that. That a king needs to learn how to lay his head somewhere.
Okay.
And usually they're going to be drawn to the place where they find peace. That's anybody, right? If you find peace in a place, where are you going to go? You're going to go where you can find it. Even we were talking about with, you know, the situations going on, even though the vices that they have, whether it be with violence or with drugs, maybe for that moment, that's the only time they feel any kind of peace in the moment, right?
So when that's what the drugs are with that other stuff,
right? Because they, for the moment, it may not take away any of the pain,
right?
But for the moment, in their minds, they're thinking, at least I have a moment of whatever peace. But in reality, that's a false sense of peace. We know that.
Of course.
But real sense of peace is where you have a safe space just to be, not to be expected to be on airs or always on or whatever. You can actually be in a place where, you know what, I'm just going to be honest and say I'm scared. I'm struggling with this.
Why is it that some people, Dr. House, lose their identity? When I say lose their identity, it's always about the other person and not them.
Because you lose yourself in another person.
Say that again.
You lose yourself. You lose who you are because you feel like who you are is not good enough to be with that person. You feel like you have to lose yourself in order to be in a relationship with them to gain what attention and love. And I know what I'm talking about because I've been there, because I was in a 13-year marriage where I felt like who I was not enough for that person to love me.
Okay.
And I realized a lot of when I was being myself, it was always picked on. It was always belittled. It was always degraded because it didn't fit the box of what they thought a woman like me should be in their minds. So here's the thing about that.
Okay.
If they have a mindset about what they think a woman should be and they don't allow yourself room to be authentically yourself, they're not the one for you anyway. They're not the one for you.
Absolutely.
They are not, because a person that really embraces you for who you are authentically, that's because they learn how to be authentic themselves. Authentic people embrace authentic people.
Okay.
They love them because they realize you're being real with who you are. Who am I to judge you about your personality?
Right.
Who I am to judge you about how you go about things? You're being authentically yourself. I respect that. I will respect more people who learn how to embrace their identity to accept themselves, not so much seeking acceptance from everyone else. Even though acceptance from people, being that we're human beings and we're connected because how God created us for connection, is important. But you still need to learn, don't lose who you are for the sake of feeling like you have to be accepted by another person. Because once you lose who you are, then you're not going to want what you want for yourself. You're always going to want for what everybody else has.
That's what I'm talking about.
And that's not going to be enough for you. You're going to never be satisfied. You're never going to have any peace. You're not going to have any kind of peace in your life being that way. And I've been there. When I finally got to a place of learning how to heal in my journey, and my journey that's still going, I realized I like Tawana. I like Tawana as she is.
Exactly.
Quirkiness, strangeness, everything.
Exactly.
And so the people who are authentic will be drawn to that and will understand it and learn how to love me for me. And I won't have to worry about fitting myself in something that, why am I assuming an identity that doesn't belong to me?
Exactly. Why am I going to just put myself in a shoebox? We got a phone call. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Sonshine. Good morning, Dr. Tawana.
Good morning.
You all both, I'm sure, are aware that over in Alberta, Alabama, even today, they're dealing with the issue of a child bully in the first grade.
Wow.
Oh, I saw that. I saw part of it. A first grade bully. I saw that.
Yes. When I grew up, we had an apple tree in the backyard, and my mother had the power of what me and my brother called it the flick of the switch.
Hello.
And ADHD mean she would say ADHD stood for a damn hellified demon, and only one of y'all gonna live in my house.
That sounds like my mother.
Whenever we got a spanking or a whooping, we got an explanation for it. And Doc, just like you said earlier, we as a community have lost a sense of community.
Yes.
But our past community was drawn and controlled by the power of that bright light of Jesus Christ.
Come on.
And if we as a people right now, if we as a people start shining bright, we'll quicken the spirits of the people, and they'll start to live right. And go back to what's called the altar. You know, altar is spelled two ways, A-L-T-E-R and A-L-T-A-R. A-L-T-E-R means change.
Right.
And A-L-T-A-R, if you look it up, the only thing it says is going down to. So we need to go down to the altar.
Come on.
Sonshine, 49 years ago today, I bought my first personal Bible. I spent good money for it, and I had my name put on it. And everybody said I was going crazy from Agent Orange from my Air Force experience during Vietnam. But the word says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind.
That's right.
And I knew that I was living wrong. And yesterday, Sonshine, I picked a rock up off the banks of the Mississippi River. And I named that rock Rocky Stone Cold Wooten.
Come on now.
I respectfully begged the Lord for his help. And I told God I was going to give him 6 months because they told me in the military they could take a young boy and turn him from a boy to a man in 8 weeks. So I had messed up my life for a couple of years, and I said, God, I'm willing to give you 6 months, and I want you to show me something. And I'm talking to y'all right now, 49 years later, Sonshine.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
If you do what God, I want to introduce people to him.
Me and you both.
I'm not a minister because some of them can be sinister. I'm not a preacher. I'm a supernatural reacher.
Come on.
And I'm certainly not a pastor. I just work for the master.
There
we
you
need
go.
some highway and hedge people right now.
I agree. I agree.
To join us in this kingdom walk.
That's
so
right.
Y'all just pray, Sonshine. Pray that prayer list starts its own nuclear fusion within itself. And those testimonies can go about so we can start another revival like we had here in Pensacola 30 years ago.
I remember
this
when.
Father's Day.
Amen.
God bless y'all.
You
Keep
too.
doing what you're doing, Doc. Respect to the ladies. hey, one more thing, Sonshine. I used to abuse women. I used to use women. And now I have 7 women that are they're going to take care of me until I leave this planet. Talk to y'all later.
Bye, Doc. I tell you, everybody, he was telling the truth there, but you know, that's what it calls, that's transparency.
Yes,
because everybody
absolutely.
needs that. We got to go to break. When we come back, I want to hear from you as well, right here on Sonshine's Corner.
You finally found the perfect car in racing blue. You even got them to throw in the LED fog lights for free. Auto Owners insures your car because some people never learn to parallel park. That's simple human sense.
Ask the Messick Insurance Agency in Pensacola if Auto Owners make sense for you.
Keep going, more. No, stop!
Watch a new episode of Crime Stoppers Wanted Fugitives every Friday at 6 p.m. Your tips may be eligible for a cash reward, featuring items about officer training, various aspects of police work, and crime prevention information. You'll hear about upcoming family-friendly engagement events as well. Don't miss Crime Stoppers Wanted Fugitives every Friday at 6 p.m.
It's baseball season. From heart-stopping plays to legendary victories, this is baseball at its finest. Grab your seat, bring your energy, and witness greatness live. Don't just watch it, feel it. The Pensacola Blue Wahoos are back, and you can watch Pensacola Blue Wahoos home games live on Fridays and Saturdays, only on Blab TV. Love the Blue Wahoos but can't watch? Get your tickets now.
The Emerald Coast Utilities Authority's state-of-the-art materials recycling facility processes recyclables for communities throughout the region, lowering need for more landfills. This highly efficient recycling service accepts glass, paper, cardboard, plastics, aluminum, and more. But we need your help. Please make sure your recyclables are clean of garbage, food, and liquids. Also, please remember that plastic shopping bags, foam products, or yard waste are not recyclable. To learn more, go to livegreenecua.com.
And welcome back to the hottest spot in town. This is Sonshine's Corner on this Friday edition. I tell you, Dr. House, I tell you, she's opening up a can of worms today that should be open all the time. We got another call, Dr. House, I tell you, but it's all good. Good morning.
Good morning, lady. I hope y'all are doing well.
Yes, we are. And you, sir?
Yes, I am. And Sonshine, I have a question for Dr. House.
Okay.
Again, y'all have a great show, but this is a very broad subject, and so I just wanted to ask Dr. House her opinions about cell phones. I believe that cell phones are destroying our kids. If she had any thoughts on when a single mother should let her children have a cell phone.
Okay.
Amen.
I want to know her thoughts on that subject.
Okay.
Okay. Well, you kind of have to look at cell phones in two different ways. Now, if you have a child that, let's say you're letting them go out the house, they're doing different things, they're having fun or what have you, and you want to have a way to keep in contact with them, I can see how a cell phone could be helpful in that way. However, the other issue is when you're talking about social media. We're talking about maybe their access to pornography and things like that. I've always recommended that there should be some limited time on cell phones. It really is, because they're like the defining voice for a lot of young people.
Absolutely.
Like if they don't get a certain amount of likes on something, certain amount of reactions on something, or someone's not responding to a text like they should or in a timely fashion or whatever in their minds, they feel like that defines who they are. It defines their value. And sometimes it results in a lot of issues. Like we were just talking about bullying. There is such a thing as cyberbullying that also happens in that area. So as far as a parent determining when a child should have a phone, that really depends on that parent and the child and their relationship. If that child has exhibited responsibility, then okay, if they've proven that they can be trusted with everything else they do in the house, whether it be their chores, making sure their grades are done, they're being obedient and all those things, I don't see no issue necessarily having the phone. However, if they're not showing that,
don't give it to them.
Don't give it to them, because more than likely, if they're not mature enough, if they're not in a place where they can handle what comes with having that kind of phone, that kind of responsibility, then don't give it to them, because a lot of times with children, they do things in excess. They take things to the extreme in how they use the phone, where they know, okay, well, the purpose of the phone is to make sure that my mom can connect with me, make sure to know what's going on. But if I'm taking it to the extreme with what I'm doing with that phone, then they're not ready for it. As a matter of fact, my son right now doesn't have a phone because of all of that stuff going on. Because really young people are not really fully matured in their brain, like I was telling you, until they're 25 years old. So you really have to be mindful of where they are and be attentive. And parents, hear me, this is when you need to be attentive to your children. Don't pass it off as if, they're just there to be there. Watch their behaviors. Watch their mannerisms. Watch what they're doing. If they prove themselves to be responsible in what they're doing, then yeah. But if they're not ready, then don't give it to them. Because the moment that you give it to them when they're not ready, you're going to open up things. Because the thing about social media, there's a lot out there now that opens up an appetite that they're not ready to handle.
I agree. Did that answer your question, sir?
Yes, it did. Thank you so much, ladies. I'll get off and let somebody else call in.
Thank you, sir. You have a great day now.
Thank you. You ladies, too. Thank you.
Bye-bye. And I tell you, we're just talking facts, because I have to say that, too. When my son, I didn't give him a phone until he was 16. And it was that little bitty one, all you could do was dial to me. Okay? Because I told him, listen, until you can pay for it. Until you're old enough to have responsibility with it?
Yes.
You don't get all that.
Yes. Because I think the thing is that young people, and really us as older people too, more mature people, we don't communicate like we used to. Don't pick up the phone and call and just talk.
And that texting?
So much can be misconstrued and misinterpreted.
I'm telling you.
Believe me, I had a situation recently where I was working one day, and one of the operational leaders came to me and said, "Hey, you sent this email, and it had all this going on, and then this person's kind of like a little bit upset because of what you said." And so I was like, "Well," asked that leader. He's like, "Did you think about giving her a call of why?"
There you go. Get the conversation going.
Okay, so this is something I posted not too long ago on social media, and that
you got
is,
2 calls coming. You got 2 calls.
Okay, so a lot can be solved with having just one conversation.
One conversation. I agree. 100%. I agree.
All right.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sonshine. How you doing?
Wonderful. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good. I wanted to say that I'm really enjoying the subject matter today. Good morning, Miss House. How you doing? Dr. House, how you doing?
I'm doing well.
Yes, I want to just add into what you was talking about, and maybe you want to go into it a little more detail. I'm in foster care, and we do a quality parenting training course for potential foster parents when they want to seek out to become foster parents. And one of the areas that we do discuss and talk about is going to be invisible suitcase. And what that means is that invisible suitcase. And what that means is that when children come into the foster care system and go into your home, you have to realize that they have been compounded with so much trauma that they may not be able to express it with words.
Right.
And that they may show it in other avenues of behaviors. And so foster parents have to be watching the children, paying attention to their behaviors and what are they doing and what they're not doing. Because even kids that are making straight A's, they don't get into any kind of issues and problems in the home. They also have trauma. So every time they're removed, have some form of trauma. They trauma because they removed from their family, trauma from the dysfunction that they lived in, trauma because they're in a new environment, trauma because they're in a new school, trauma because they're going to a new church. There's a lot of trauma that's compounded on top of each other. And so you have to be aware, and we have to make sure that we can go ahead and get children services ahead of time and quickly as possible so we can start breaking down that trauma. She mentioned about hijack. We talked about hijack because, especially with little kids, their mind get hijacked due to all the trauma that they incorporate within their life. And so only thing they know how to do is try to survive.
That's it.
And so because they have no control over all the things that happen, everybody's making decisions for them.
Absolutely.
And so their minds get hijacked from all the trauma that's compounded in their lives.
Right. Well, thank you. So we can talk about that. We got another call. Hold it on. But thank you. We're going to touch that too, okay?
You're welcome. Thank you, and have a blessed day. And you look amazing today.
Oh, come on. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. He said something in my ear, but I didn't get it. Okay. But let's add this. If that person that was on the phone, if you hung up, please call back. We want to hear what you got to say. Because of the fact, I want to talk to Dr. House about the fact that what a caller brought up earlier.
Okay.
About that child in the first grade.
Yes.
Over in Alberta, Alabama. That's a bully.
Yeah.
That they had to call in services to get this thing handled. What kind of, in the first grade, you 6, 7 years old?
Yeah.
What are you bullying about? I mean, things like that. How do you handle things like that? And I mean, this is really a case because it was all on the news last night.
Well, if we just be honest, children can be cruel.
Okay. Is it because of something they see at home?
It could be, because I think there's a lot of things that happen with children too, that especially those who are bullying, a lot of times there are things not stable at home. And a lot of times, if, like he was just talking about the compounded trauma, children at that age don't know how to properly process their feelings and respond. They only know how to act it out. So sometimes acting out could be taken out on another child, what maybe they feel like should be taken out on their parents.
Really? Okay, so like this little child.
Yeah.
Okay, my question is, because I'm trying to remember the entire forecast, the news thing that I heard last night that I was reading about, and then it was on social media.
Yeah.
That a first grader.
Yeah, first grader.
Were you beating up the kids? I mean, but why? So does that child have mental health issues, you think? Or maybe I'm just picking.
Yeah. I mean, mental health issues, you got to think about it. Has to be certain signs that's been prolonged for like 2 to 3 weeks at a time. But when you're talking about bullying, it could really just be simple as a child growing up, dealing with, different things growing up as a child. That's typical. But there's a difference. If it is mental illness, it will show up, because, for example, some of it, when it comes to bullying, bullying is basically making someone else feel less than, making this bothering them, continually antagonizing them, all of that. But the truth is, a lot of times bullies are dealing with things in themselves. They're projecting on the others what they had not dealt with yet. They're dealing with their own issues. As a first grader, he probably doesn't know any other way but to deal with whatever he's dealing with in himself, but to take it out on somebody else and acting it out.
Oh my goodness.
And that's, I'm not saying that excuses nothing.
Right.
But I'm saying that when you're 6 and 7 years old, you don't know how to process all that stuff, and sometimes
you can barely talk.
You can barely, or at least communicate decently. Let's say that. But when you're at that age, typically there's always the whole sense of being rude or being cruel, and honestly, children nowadays don't. Even when we were growing up in school, sometimes we dealt with being tattled on, talked about, all that kind of stuff. It's just at a new level now because of the trauma that a lot of children are dealing with now versus what we've dealt with in the past.
And when you think about that, when we revert back now, and hear me when I say this. Now I say this, I think I said this, somebody else I was talking to.
Yeah.
Sure, I know it's 2025.
Yeah.
I know we've advanced. I know that things have advanced from a couple years ago when I was a child. What I'm saying is this. I think personal pronoun.
Okay.
I'm not a doctor.
Okay.
But I believe that if we are firm, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think if the foundation is there, even sure we are advancing, but don't break the foundation of being a parent.
There you go. There you go. There we go. I think what we need to understand, we were talking about the younger generation, a younger sense of younger parents.
Right.
There's a responsibility that comes with being a parent. That child is looking to you for the guidance, for the nurturing, for the structure. A lot of times when children are acting out like this, even in the bullying, structure is not in place at home.
Exactly. I'll tell you something else that bothers me, and when I make this statement, we'll talk about this when we come back. But I when I see on social media, they got this boots on the ground dance now, right?
Yeah.
I see babies out there. You got those babies on social media, boom, boom, shaking their, and you don't know what predator's watching them. But you got them, and the only thing you're focusing on is the part when they're shaking their butt. I think that's wrong. I think you're opening up a door for their predators that's on social media. I think you're putting your child in danger with that. There are certain things I don't think you should allow your child to be involved in. And I don't care what you tell me. That's not going to ever change in me, because I feel like that is right. We're going to talk about that when we return. 850-432-7768. For that caller that hung up, please call back. We want to talk to you as well right here on Sunshine's Corner.
Welcome to Little John's Big and Tall, where tall men and big men go for style, fit, and comfort. We offer a wide variety of styles and unique brands that service all sizes from large to 14X, as well as tall sizes from large tall to 6X tall. Our knowledgeable staff are here to make sure you have a stress-free experience and answer any of your questions. Little John's has been named Best of Pensacola and Best of the Bay for 4 years in a row. Visit Little John's at 5700 North Davis or visit us online at littlejohnsbigandtall.com.
I'm Emily Echeverria, Marketing Communications Director for Council on Aging of West Florida and the host of Coming of Age. Watch our show to find out what we're doing for our seniors and their families, and hear from area experts and local business owners about their programs and services. Want to help? Find out how you can work with us to bring a better future to our seniors. Watch Coming of Age, 3:30 p.m. Wednesdays, only on Blab TV.
Empire Truck Sales, located at 2255 West Detroit Boulevard in Pensacola, is your Freightliner, Western Star, Detroit Diesel, and Cummins dealer for Northwest Florida. Open 7 days a week, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., Saturdays and Sundays, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., providing sales, service, and parts. Empire Truck Sales is also your Oasis dealer for Freightliner custom chassis RV and motorhome repairs. Running I-10 will get you in.
Well, I think it's all about local, and I'm a big believer in local. So I think anytime you can carry a message out locally, it's important. And I think it's anytime the person that delivers the service can also deliver the message, which is unusual. You have the people that actually deliver the project doing the talking, and I think that's a huge difference, and really makes a huge value difference for the consumer. So I'm really just so grateful that we have this local opportunity with Blab TV. My name is Quint Studer, and I am Blab TV.
And welcome back to Sunshine's Corner on this Friday edition. We are talking with Dr. Tawana House, and today we're talking about mental health. We're talking about the things that we encounter every single day, but the fact of it is, are we really recognizing the truth of the matter, and are we dealing with the matter? Because sometimes, Dr. House, people will do this, and I'm just being transparent. I mean, I want to be clear on that I'm being transparent because of the things. I think that's why so many things are happening in the community today. I'll go back and I'll say this: until we can get that connection that we once had, till we can go back to get the parenting like it was parenting done, and to have these kids to realize, look, I'm your mama.
Right.
You not mine.
Right.
You gonna do what I say, or my mother will say, you getting knocked up in here. I mean, what I'm saying is it's okay. And I understand the fact now, even with kids will go this way, you call a cop on me. Oh, because I'm gonna chastise you. No, I put it like this. What you getting here ain't gonna amount to nothing what you gonna do if you get locked up.
Right.
It's not gonna amount to anything to what's gonna happen to you if you continue to do that. But we don't have that structure anymore.
No, because a lot of parents try to be their child's friend rather than being a parent. There has to be, like you said, structure and boundaries.
Yes.
We really don't have a good sense of boundaries anymore.
Absolutely.
Not only just when it comes to parenting, but really when it comes to life or relationships,
exactly.
Period. We don't have a good sense of boundaries, but that also comes from the lack of sense of what we know who we are in ourselves.
Absolutely.
And so I think, but when you have a good sense of community, like we were talking about, that's where you find it.
Most certainly.
You find that, you know.
Most certainly.
And so I think the thing is that there's a lot of pain. I know I'm not judging or anything, because I know my experience. I wasn't necessarily doing that even in my earlier days when I was parenting, because I didn't know who I was.
Exactly.
I didn't know my good sense, and I know how it affected the relationships I had with my children, and I owed up to that. And even though later on down the line I was becoming that mother, I was being in that firm stance, I understood that maybe they might have been easy to respect it. But one of the things that I love is that my oldest daughter told me a couple of years ago, she said, "Mom, you did the best you could do to be the mom that you could be."
Exactly.
And you were consistent in being there. For
That's
that,
right.
I appreciate you.
Amen.
So those things, I realized that even though I may not have been at the best of it, but giving my best as I could, your children eventually, when they get older, will respect it. In the younger years of their life, I've learned that being their friend is not what you need to be.
You don't need to be
You need to be
friend.
the parent and give that structure. Now, maybe when they grow up later on down the line and they get older as adults, that could be a possibility for that. But don't try to be their friend now.
I heard this lady say, she was an older lady. She said, "I'm not your friend, but I can be friendly."
Oh, yeah.
I can be friendly, but I'm not your friend. Okay, we're down to the bottom. You got an event coming up on the 16th.
Yes, we do. National Alliance of
Right there?
Okay, yes, there it is right there. National Alliance of Mental Illness, NAMI on campus and beyond. It's a partnership effort that we're doing with Sonshine Health. We're focusing on...
Oh, wow, Sonshine Health.
Yes, I know. Ain't that nice? Ain't that nice?
That's right.
So Sonshine Health, we're partnering with them to do an Ending the Silence presentation to focus on the signs and symptoms of mental illness among youth, because as you know, the onset of serious mental illness begins between the ages of 14 to 21. So we're focusing on that. We're going to have discussions on therapy. We're going to talk about breaking the stigma. We're going to have vendors and resources there, as well as refreshments, and it's going to be at Sonshine Health, 2620 Creighton Road, right there by the Walmart Supercenter, and it's going to be from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. on Friday, May 16th during Mental Health Awareness Month.
So now how can they get in touch with you?
Yes, they can get in touch with me at 850-529-3307, or they can email me at thouse@namiec.org.
And right now, all that information is on that flyer.
Yes.
Take a picture of it, ladies and gentlemen. You see it on our screen. Take a picture, because this is an event with NAMI. I know what it means now. that you can be a part of. I tell you what, Dr. House, we have covered so much today.
Yeah,
and I have so many questions yet on the inside of me.
Yeah.
That I want people to understand that there is help.
There is. There's help and then there's hope.
There's help and there's hope.
Yeah.
Now, if a person want to just come personally and talk to you, they can call you at that number as well?
They can call me at that number as well. And then also I do, I'm a board certified mental health coach.
Right.
And so mental health coaching is kind of like the in-between before you actually go to a licensed professional.
Right.
Because sometimes it takes a while to actually get to a professional because depending on insurance schedules,
Of course.
So you still need some help in between until you get there. So I'm there as a mental health coach to kind of guide you through some things, giving you some skills and some resources, some tools to know how to process your life, maybe build up your wellness toolbox, I call it.
Right.
What do you use for that? So they can contact me directly at 850-529-3307, or you can also go to my nonprofit page, which is beaconofhopechampions.org.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, do that today because she's filled with knowledge and she's so easy to talk to. And she brings it out that is understandable where you can, and she breaks it out, put it like this. She's not holding anything back. It's what I love. She tells it like it is, and she is a board certified. I mean, come on.
Mental health coach, yeah.
Mental health coach now. If you need that help, reach out to her. If you missed the number, call me. I'll give it to you.
All right.
But Dr. I got to have you back.
Yes.
And I want to have you back so we can have these conversations more because I'm a strong believer. The more we talk about it, we can come up with a solution.
Absolutely. And not only just come up with a solution, but act on it.
There you go. See what I'm talking about. I mean, I got to go. Listen, I love you with the perfect kind of love. Ladies and gentlemen, I've got to go, but I want to leave you as I do every day. Never, ever, ever lose your focus. Always remember, if you keep God first, I'll guarantee you'll be a total success. Until Monday for another day of sunshine. Know that I love you with the perfect kind of love. Keep shining while I'm gone. Have a great weekend. See you at the Seafood Faithful. Bye for now. It is Sunshine's Corner, being brought to you by Quint and Richie Studer.